Everybody, how's it going here? Brady from Celtics Film Room. Just going to do a quick test to make sure the volume is working. All right, yep, we got volume working. Awesome. Last time I recorded, it didn't work. So I'll try to make this quicker than I have the first two. Although the second one you guys didn't see because the volume didn't record as I posted on Twitter. But let's get into this right away. The Celtics dominated. The Celtics really dominated this whole game. They dominated this whole game. They were able to execute their game plan to a T. Right, and the Sixers battled. They battled hard, not super hard, but they battled in the first half. They made some shots, and they made it easy some possessions. They worked some possessions to get some shots in the first half. But at the end of the day, this came down to Joel Embiid came back, and that changed the way the Sixers operated. And the Celtics also combined up their intensity. And those two combined, especially with Embiid not at 100%, definitely made it more of a difficult matchup for Philadelphia this game. No question about it. This made it 100% much more difficult matchup for the 76ers. And let's break down why. So right out of the gate, offensively, actually, I'm gonna go to their defense first. Their defense is what stood out first. Their ball pressure. I'm not sure if it was this possession or the next possession, but the ball pressure, notice even here, just like simple stuff like Jalen trying to get a deflection here, simple stuff like that. You weren't seeing that in game one. And also notice right out of the gate, look at the shot clock on Philly. The pace, letting things play down, and trying to throw post pass to Embiid here. This is completely different. This is definitely not the way they're used to operating. And here, Maxey actually does a really good job of relocating. Embiid makes a good pass. Now they get the Celtics in rotation, but notice the guys are flying around much faster. Tatum closes out. Marcus closes out to Tobias. All right, guys are flying around in rotation, and he forced them to a late shot clock contested pull-up. Right, Harris is able to get a rhythm on this shot, but that's not necessarily a horrible defensive possession. Even though you do get in rotation right away, the way they hop around, that's a playoff in intensity. You expect this was right from the jump, and they got right into the defense right here. Boom, I noticed this right away, and I was like, okay, yeah, the message clearly was received. Effort, it was clear in the first minute. Effort was not going to be a problem tonight, unless they got up really big early, which they didn't. Effort was definitely not going to be a problem then, and even then, I think they would have kept their foot on the gas. Jaylen Brown picked him up earlier too. He picked him up right around where Zarba is almost. Jaylen Brown hopping over the midcourt line to pick up James Harden. Now you set that screen and roll. Is plenty of time. If you, the thing with this high screen is there's so much time. If you work over it, there's so much time to recover here. And yes, Harden is able to get to his left hand here, but there's so much time to recover. Now Al can help in the lane as well on this possession. Notice guys engaged. Derek just throwing a hand in there because Tobias isn't really set up yet. Derek now is going to block out the passing lane. And then he throws it back to Embiid. And listen, if you're Celtics, if you're on the Celtics, you're going to concede this shot all game, right? Because this is a shot you want them to take. Right? Embiid is like a below average. He's like a 33% on a 3-point shooter on a low volume, right? He's a 2-level scorer. He is not a 3-level scorer. Can hit the three. Will hit the three occasionally. We'll probably hit a couple threes this series. But this is not his go-to shot. And as we see here, it's what the Celtics wanted. They conceded this. And right out of the gate, even though despite some, when I say offensive execution, in terms of results, not process, that is not what was lacking. And here, take a look. Missed 3-point shot, right? Not so bad. Philly does a really good job right away of pushing Phillies gets right back into their pace. James Harden does a really good job throwing the ball up the court. It's a simple thing, but it's a really good job to be able to put pace. Maxey gets in a rhythm. He takes a tough three and makes it. And you're gonna listen. You're gonna live with that shot. There's nothing wrong with this defensive possession. This is one where I look at the Sixers and say, hey, give credit. They took a tough shot. They made a tough shot, but they were in rhythm. They pushed it with pace. Their defense definitely wasn't set up yet, and this is a good job by the Celtics. Guys getting back. Marcus would have liked to see him get back a little bit sooner, but that's okay. You have 4 guys who are set up that can guard Maxey. It's basically 4-on-2. Basically, as Tobias is still getting into the picture here, and Al can slide over if he needed to here. Jalen can also slide over here if he needed to. Jason, can help because PJ's usually not going to take, especially an early shot clock 3. PJ's probably not going to take that. Not a bad defensive possession. Give Philly credit. They take the shot, make the shot. Happens again, next possession, Maxey pulls up, miss, right? It's the same kind of look. James, it's just a little bit later it happens. James throws the pass, right? They get a miss. James right away pushes it, throws the pass to Maxey. You're going to be okay with that shot. I want Maxey shooting 30 footers with 20 seconds left on the shot clock all day. Here, Jalen just gets beat off the dribble here. Not ideal, but look at this, active. Tatum pulling off his man. They'll switch, and he gets onto the basketball. Does a really good job with his hands here, and is able to make a play on the basketball. That's all you ask for. You should be able to have rim protection here against James Harden. He does a great job knowing that he's not exactly tall enough to contest this without either committing a foul or really affecting James Harden. And you have to be black or white when it comes to that. You can't be in the middle, otherwise they're going to call a foul, which sucks because he flops for it. But at the end of the day, listen, they're calling it a foul. You have to respect that, and you don't want to just commit a foul to commit a foul. So Jason does a really good job committing right away to the ball here, and he's gonna get not the offensive foul, but he's gonna get a turnover from James, or technically a block. Here, right? Celtics notice they set up really good job here. Right, they forced him to late in the shot clock now at this point, and the Sixers still haven't even penetrated the paint. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Right, jab. They finally get in. Force. Derek's a good rim protector, right? So he's going to force. It's not the toughest shot in the world, but they force a tough shot. And with late on the shot clock, there's going to be more pressure, and that's exactly what you want. Here's another one. Right, Philly early did a really good job pushing the pace. And the Celtics were able to combat it much better here. Al, great job. I think this is a block. I don't know why it says just miss. I think this is not a block. I think that's clearly a block. Al does a great job here. I could remember a couple times last game, Al in this similar situation just got completely beat here. Maxey, I think, should have tried to finish this with his left. Instead, for some reason, it makes it easy for Al to deflect the shot. All right, good defense, right? Maxey could have finished that with left, didn't. Al took advantage. Here's another possession. Notice, right, not as fast on this possession, right? And that's what you get with Joel on the court. Slower possessions, right? They spend this whole possession. Joel's trying to work post position, messes up spacing, takes time. Spacing still messed up. You got 2 basically guys guarding Tobias Harris, and it just forces a shot pass. I don't know what that was from Tobias. Looks like a shot and gets blocked. Then you get in transition and you get a great shot on offense. Right, defense leading to offense. We talked about this in the last video. Take a look at this possession again. Notice, right? They get the ball into Embiid. They collapse on him. He throws the ball out. Right, he wasted a lot of shot clock just trying to get the ball to Joel. Joel, I don't know whether it's just not being aggressive enough. Doesn't decide to go to work here. They trap him. They end up trapping him because he didn't take it. He wasn't decisive. early enough. If Joel's not going to be decisive right away with the basketball, it's going to lead play right into the Celtics' hand. It's going to force not a late shot clock, but a later shot clock three with a good contest from Jason, and boom, that's it. Simple as that, and great hustle and effort here, right? It's a will to get the basketball. Marcus Smart says, "I'm not letting you get the basketball here." PJ Tucker usually really good at that too. Marcus just wanted it even more that possession. So when he got the basketball, now you get a fast break. You get a 3-on-3 fast break. Right, and this is just early defensive intensity here, right? They spent all this time on the shot clock. Sixers spent all this time, right? Instead of running Spain pick and roll, like we talked about last game, which I went really, really in depth on that on Philly and the way they were disguising their Spain pick and roll. They did a great job at disguising them being able to get into Spain, just different variations. I think I talked about a couple possessions at least. But Doc does a great job. He's still a great coach, and he was able to do that. Now in this game, you bring Joel back. Especially if Joel's not 100%, I think it plays into the Celtics' hands more. It's easier in the playoffs to load up on a guy and game plan around that. Right, boom, they throw Al. Look at this catch point too. This is too far. The catch point is ridiculously far away. This is too far. You want to get this. It's not ridiculously far. Maybe we'll exaggerate, but you want to get this catch point where Al is and not have 1 foot basically on the 3-point line here. It's just a little far, in my opinion, for Joel to catch this ball. And now look at the shot clock, 7. He is not going to be decisive here. And you're going to force him into a tough pull-up jump shot. That's exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. And at that point, you just got to get the offensive rebound. Simple as that. Jason, he's trying. He's working on a box out. PJ just outworks him. He wanted it more. He got it. I'm not going to – I've seen a lot of Jason Tatum not boxing out before. I'll give Jason credit for boxing out. But PJ just outworked him here. I want to see Jason fight a little bit more on that for that rebound right there, and that ultimately started to get him in foul trouble. Here was the drone shot. I didn't mind the drone actually, at least this position. There was others. I was like, come on, do we really need this? This one right here, I didn't mind it. I kind of liked it. It was interesting. I'm sure the fans that were there probably didn't like it as much, but I didn't mind it. Here again, I don't like Rob playing this far back. This is a little indecisiveness right here from James. Is that James? Yeah, that is James. It's a little indecisiveness right here. He decides to throw the corner pass here. Rob usually can tend to struggle with some of these closeouts and just get caught in between a lot of times. Rob does a decent job right here, staying on his feet and forces Tucker to take it to the rim, right? This is what you want. You want guys to do this, right? And is that Joel out there? Yeah, I mean, you look at this, the spacing gets messed up too, right? Because you're going to be okay with Joel catching it at the 3-point line. So when you try to go 5-out spacing with Joel, at the top of the key, it's not really someone you have to worry about. So notice, right, it's harder to see from this angle here than would be the straightaway shot. But notice Al can help. That's one of the reasons James is indecisive here, because you've got 3 defenders around him. Al can help out more. Al can help out more here on James. Rob shows here just enough for James, to think a little bit longer. And Jalen's going to come around the Tucker screen, to help out. And then it will be Rob does a decent, just barely good enough show here, and then hops back. Notice, and James is going to make this pass, and Rob does a good job of contesting. Of closing out, and then he's able to work back, and he's going to get a block. Offense, and then get defense to offense. Simple as that. Take a look at couple more defensive possessions, and then we'll take a look at the offense and what worked well. Hint: defense to offense. Got a lot of good transition stuff when you're able to play defense. Here was one of the not so good. Finally, instead of just trying to get an Embiid step back, they realize, maybe we can go back to Spain pick and roll. They work Spain. Actually, they don't even work Spain here. They're not even Spain. They just were smart enough to realize we can run Joel Embiid and pick and roll, and yeah, that will be tough. That will be tough for them to to think about here. And it's not even exactly it's not it is, but it isn't. It's the same idea as Spain, but it's not. Maxi, right? They're throwing this out of bounds, and Maxi's gonna work right away. But what that does do is it draws Derek away from the defender. Derek has to take when Tyrese Maxey's on the move, and he's in a position where he's not standing still and he's moving, and he can turn on the Jets at any moment. You have to watch him. You have to watch him. So here they were going to run good pick and roll. Malcolm, listen, I'm not sure whether this was defensive communication or not, but Malcolm just you gotta have better communication here. They don't want to switch this pick and roll because they know then it's a mismatch. You gotta fight better on this pick and roll here, or Rob show help more and then drop under. Drop under. Legal screen, yes, but it's the playoffs. It's the playoffs. 75% of the screens in these playoffs are going to be legal. Absolutely an illegal screen here. And this one it should be called. I mean, that's you can't move that much. That one should be called, but they don't. So you got to fight a little bit more, and it's not a horrible job of helping recover here. And really, I'm surprised James didn't throw this pass to Embiid here. He ends up taking the jump shot, and look, he's close enough to the basket. He's able to get a pretty decent look. It's not the worst look in the world, but just a little bit better. You'd hope that you can fight around that screen just a little bit better. It's tough. We'll take a look at a couple more baskets here. Now Paul Reed's in the game. Joel's out after playing about 7 minutes. And, right away they go back into high screen and roll. And much better job here on this screen. Malcolm does a really good job of fighting over the screen. This is what you got to do, right? Paul Reed does not want to get called for, he does end up getting called for one later in the game, I think. But right here, right, you force the contact. This is something they were struggling to do last game, right? Watch Malcolm here. He's going to embrace the contact here. Once you embrace the contact, Paul Reed cannot keep setting this screen. You run into part of Paul, right? You don't want to go like right through him, but you want to clip the side of him to try to get over, right? And not clip him to injure him, obviously, but you want to clip the side of him so you can fight over the screen, and now you can make it so much harder, especially when you want to force James to his right hand, which they do here. This is a good job, good recover, right? It's exactly what you want. Not good spacing by the Sixers whatsoever, because it's basically 4-on-1 almost right now, where Rob can help here. Paul Reed is not a threat for this. Or I guess they're going to throw it to Ian. But yeah, Paul Reed is not a threat. And now you basically have all this clogged up. And Tobias sees this, and he's going to do a good job of cutting away from the basket. He's actually not even going to really cut. He's just going to sit around the dunker spot. Spacing still isn't great. George always does a great job of making a quick decision. Kind of throws Malcolm off, to be honest, a little bit. Or was that Grant? I loved Grant's defense this game. Grant was really good defensively this game. Grant just gets beat. George Niang, really good basketball player, right? He's maybe not like in terms of player rankings, but he's just a good basketball player, understanding the game, good positional defender, and just a smart basketball player. And so, right, they do a good job, right? Communicating fast. Grant, one problem Grant never has is talking. So he's going to talk, right? They get into the switch. Malcolm holds his ground. It's not the best look in the world for the Celtics. Not exactly, Niang with that size advantage. Rob, though, he does what he can and maybe affects the shot a little bit. And Rob really gets up on this one. And, they're going to knock in at the offensive rebound, but I love Rob. Rob could have been 50-50 easily just grab tight margins. That's how it works in the NBA. It can work against you, but again, this much better ball pressure, communication, fighting through screens, just more engaged, more focused defensively, possession to possession. You can see it consistently here. Another ball screen. Malcolm is going to do another great job much better job by Malcolm here. He was horrible, and not just him, other Celtics players too, fighting over ball screens here. Notice, right, already you initiate that contact, and now at this point, if he does an illegal screen anymore, than what it is, right? And again, I'm not like saying like Paul Reed's doing something that is so egregious here. Every NBA player sets illegal screens in the playoffs and gets away with it. That's just how it works. You get away with more as a screener. Playoffs. Bam Adebayo is the king of that, and he's the king of that. He sets illegal but great screens in the postseason. And Malcolm does a great job fighting over here, right? Notice he's going to go knee to knee with Paul here, and he's going to fight over this before James. Yeah, before James can get to the rim as fast. Now, one thing might say maybe he was slightly slower than last game. James was. I don't know. I don't think he was really that much slower. I think the Celtics just did a better job in this game, fighting over screens faster, in my opinion. And then James is just not as fast as he was 10 years ago. That's the reality. And Malcolm here does a better job. Still gets beat, but look at the drop coverage now, right? Paul Reed at this point, you got to slip out of the screen now. You got to slip out of the screen quicker here, so Rob can at least think about you more. Not that he doesn't slip early enough. Rob does a great job on his drop pickup, and that's going to force James to put on the brakes a little bit here, and it really allows Malcolm to recover. And it's too wide too. You got to be more direct here. Paul Reed does. Notice instead of slipping out sooner and boom, going right to the hoop here, Paul Reed is going to come out a little bit, and it's just not as direct. Even more time now, especially if you're going towards the 3-point line and you're not a threat to shoot, you're making it easy. And this is just not a good screen whatsoever. Malcolm has good hand. James is going to try to pull up and hit a deep three. Malcolm has good hands here. I don't understand how this is 27 feet. And some of these, the way they list them compared to others, it confuses me sometimes. But James is going to try to pull it from here. Malcolm does a great job of deflecting the ball and creates the deflection, goes off James, goes the other way, gets the block. Just more improved defense, from the Celtics here. Transition, what are you going to do? It's bad offense leading to defense. Look at, one more possession here. All right. We'll look at one more. That wasn't necessarily bad. They just didn't finish well. You're right. Notice more pace, more guys moving around. Here they get a little late into their set, to be honest. I'm not sure if they've already tried something on this possession. They get into a little bit later, but notice there's more ball movement. Much better job on this screen by McDaniels here. Notice McDaniels is going to fly, set the screen, do his job, slip out immediately, and it forces Rob. Rob does a really good job here actually on this screen. On his pickup point on his drop, and then look how quickly his feet move to react, right? Marcus does a good job fighting. He gets beat on the screen a little bit worse than you would like, but look at the recovery Marcus does here. Boom, stops on a dime and forces James to a tough three. And listen, he made a couple of these last game. But just the overall energy, James not being quite in a rhythm as much as he was last game. And it almost makes it. Doesn't though. It's a miss. That's the reality. It's a good defensive possession, and just much improved, right? We look at their defensive rotation. We look at their pick and roll defense, their individual one-on-one defense on Joel. They already trapped him. They already let him go single coverage. They've thrown different coverages out there. They didn't exactly go to zone at all tonight, but they threw different coverages at Embiid already, and this is the first 10 minutes of the game. They threw a couple different coverages at Joel. They had much better pick and roll defense, and they also had improved drop points on their screens between Al and Rob. Between Al and Rob, they had improved their pickup points and their drop coverage, and then also fighting over screens. I might have mentioned that already. Just the overall effort, engagement, and attention to detail defensively that was clearly discussed in film, definitely discussed in film, was much improved. Was definitely much improved, and you could see it right away. And I go back to that Jalen picking up James over half court. For me, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, um, this is going to be a much better effort defensively. It's just frustrating because, of course, they couldn't do it game one. Not only could it go up 2-0, but I was there at the game, so a little frustrating. Let's take a look at the offense now. This is just Jalen doing his thing. He loves to take these threes early in games. Try to see if he's got anything going or not. But here, they get a stop, I believe. And look, semi-transition. Beautiful. Marcus going to push the pace. Joel, we talked about this in the first. It's on Twitter, not on YouTube. I had to wait 24 hours. So the Celtics Sixers preview, if you were watching this from YouTube, which I know there's probably not many yet, but if you are from YouTube, I did a Celtics Sixers preview before. That is posted on my Twitter. Celtics Film Room. Celtics Film 18 is the username. But here, we talked about this. Joel Embiid is going to concede something. This is why the Celtics, I just think they're favored in this. They're the clear favorite in this series because Joel Embiid is always going to have to concede something. Always going to have to concede something. Is he going to stick out to Al Horford, or is he going to stick in the rim? And right away, you see this. They push and pace. Al does a good job of running the floor. He's going to get a wide open three. This is it. They missed some wide open threes early in this game, man. Some real wide open threes. And they finally made them in the third quarter. And that's when they blew this game wide the hell open. Here. Boom. Look at it. 17 the shot clock, right? Is 18 on the shot clock, right? Even this is after a make. Tyrese Maxey make here. 19 on the shot clock. And, Marcus is already getting a pass. I believe Jalen who maybe took it up? I forget who took it up. Marcus is already getting a pass here. 19. They're getting into their sets early. Notice, talked about this a little bit, when you push the ball and you get in semi-transition, even off makes, notice Joel's not looking at the ball. He's looking at Al at this point. Maxey, there's in the discussion here. I don't know what went wrong here. But guys are not where they're supposed to be. Half looking at the ball, but really trying to keep track of Jalen. James is in no man's land. PJ's thinking about guarding too. Guys are not set up and ready to load up on the basketball and be in a position where they are ready to react and force the offense to make decisions they don't want to. The offense is in complete control of this possession. Marcus is going to take it in, drive, suck in the defense. Derek, talk about off-ball movement, such a key factor. Jaylen Brown, not really much of a mover. He moves enough on this possession he will move to his spot after he passes the basketball. He will tend to not move from his spot a lot of times because that's what he was used to when he was younger, and he still does this. He would just stand in the corner and wait for threes because there was not a lot of emphasis on off-ball movement. When it wasn't as much needed, as it was kind of a different game than it is now. It's so much more three-point oriented than it was just 5 years ago. But Jalen moves enough. Derek moves off the ball, and now Derek's got a wide open lane to come in. He's going to get a pretty good look at the lane. And yes, Joel's he's a good rim protector on this possession, though. This was not necessarily, Derek kind of drives his knee into Joel. It's not an offensive foul, but creates enough separation here where this is not exactly a good enough contest, or to the point where you'd be like, okay, understand why Derek, missed that. No, that's a layup. That's a layup that Derek should make. The process or the result, is going to always win at the end, especially over the course of a series and not just 48 minutes. So you could argue 3 good looks. I don't know if the first one was from Jalen, that pull-up 3, but it is what it is. Look at this semi-transition again, off a Sixers miss. Your defense setting up your offense. Here, notice, right? Doesn't matter. Takes up the ball when you're in semi-transition. Always, I prefer a point guard. Always a positive. Here, Al's going to do a good job. Trying to set a screen here. Jason was looking to pass. It's going screen and roll. Notice how far Joel has to pull up now, leaving an opportunity to attack the basket and potential defenders in on help defense because he knows he has to stick to Al, and Al's going to have to make threes. All right, we're not asking him. I think he shot like 2 of 8 from 3 tonight. Let's take a look. One of eight from 3. So he's going to have to make 2 more. We're not asking Al to shoot 50% from 3 like he almost did this year. He shot 45% from 3. But we do need you to make like 35%, like 35 to 40%. We do need Al to make 35 to 40%. And listen, not necessarily a bad thing to get a cold game out of the way when he won by 30. Right? So Al's been cold, and they still won by 30. So opportunity for Al to heat up in this series. But Joel, game plan, knows they have to be stick to Al. Here, would have liked them to keep working this possession, but Jason is decisive here, and he's going to get an in-rhythm 3, an open 3, not a wide open 3, but an open 3, and rims out. So it's not a horrible possession, but they can get better. Here, we talked about this in the preview. This is good. This is good offense here, right? Already getting early semi-transition. And Jalen, now guys have to be attached to each other. They can't just load up on the ball because it's so early. If Jalen holds the ball for another second or 2, yes, they can. But notice Al is moving. Players are still moving into spots, just barely. If he waits another couple seconds, probably not. And look how open the basket is, right? Joel has to be attached to Al Horford. You can't just let Al sit out here from 3. Joel comes up, and Jalen is just going to slide in, right? Tobias Harris cannot guard Jaylen Brown one-on-one with this much space. It's just not going to happen. And that's something that Philly has to a disadvantage. And Jalen can even make this pass here to Derek if he wanted to here, which I wouldn't mind it. But when Tyrese Maxey is the help defender, makes it a little bit easier. Maxey tries. Even here still in general, if that wasn't such bad defense by the Sixers, I wouldn't mind Jalen making that pass out to Derek to just try to get a great shot. Right away, take a look. Get the ball and running. Simple as that. Fast break, thanks to your defense, and they're going to get a wide open 3. Miss it. Good process. Didn't get the result. Again, running with the basketball. Marcus Smart's going to get to the lane here, and just listen. He's going to force the shot. Wasn't necessary here on this possession. I like Marcus being aggressive here, but guys got to run. You need guys to run with you here, and you got to wait just a little bit longer. Even here, just come to a jump stop right here. Marcus, he doesn't even need to wait for guys to run with him. They're enough. Come to a jump stop, throw this pass out to Al, and you're going to get either a wide open 3 or the Sixers in rotation. Either way, going to be a positive. Again, love them pushing the ball. Just didn't love the execution on that possession. Can't tell you what happened this possession because NBA Advanced Stats video told me they didn't want to film this, I guess. My guess is that Embiid was pulled into the basket. Someone sucked him into the basket, and then he works to get a closeout. still get an open three. Al misses. I forget exactly what happened on that possession, but that'd be my guess. Here now, they worked a switch, or they worked a fast break to the point where they just they couldn't get the defensive matchups they wanted, and that's the advantage of playing good defense or just pushing the ball in general after a make, which I think they did. And so either way, they got a uncomfortable matchup. And Al, I would have liked him to take this three here. Can't pass up great shots. This is a great shot. You can't pass this up here, in my opinion. But he's going to throw it to Jason on the corner. And you got to make a quick decision here because notice Harden is looking to load up. So you got to make a quick decision here. And he does. Right away, draws in Harden. And the spacing is horrible. Spacing is god-awful. And they're going to work. And Jason's still going to work this possession anyways to the point where he's going to just outskill here, works it, gets the and one, despite the bad spacing. It's just skill doing its thing right there. That's Jason Tatum at his finest. We'll take a look at a few more possessions here offensively, and then we can call it a wraps. Try to keep these a little bit shorter than the first couple were. Here again, you work in semi-transition, you're going to get probably going to get another good look. There's a good chance you're going to probably get another good look here. Joel again, talked about this on the first preview. He's late. He is late in he is, I don't want to say lazy, but it is, for whatever reason, it is harder for him to get back in transition. It is harder for him to get back in transition, and a lot of the times that gives an open lane to the hoop. And also, if your center is running in this possession, there's not everyone's caught up yet. You're able to really have an advantage here. Still an advantage here, 3-on-3. It's a transition. Oh, this was the Marcus Smart. He got the steal. You get a 3-on-3. He got the hustle rebound here. I love this defensive possession. And right, so when Jaylen Brown attacks the basket, it's pretty simple. And your center's not there. James has to draw him in, makes the easy pass. Derek's going to take a great three. Just misses. Derek made his ones in the second half in the third quarter. It was that simple. And we'll take a look at some of those third quarter possessions in a second. We'll take a look at one more. Here, right? Love this again. They get into their set early. Already made 2 passes at this point. 18 seconds on the shot clock. Jalen's going to drive in. Pump fake. It's the Al. Could argue a mismatch. I wouldn't say it's a huge mismatch because PJ is real tough, good defender, physical defender. And they get a pretty decent look here. Al Horford, you'll take that look a lot of times. And, and when you force these mismatches here, you tend to get guys out of position. So what Joel's really going to key on Al here. Notice he's going to hop away. I wouldn't call it a huge mismatch, and I don't think Joel should have helped this much. But he is going to help, and now it's going to leave Robert Williams wide open to either get a lob threat or get an offensive rebound. Not a great lob threat opportunity with Joel. Joel's going to be able to have the length and the size to be able to guard the lob threat here. But offensive rebounds, it's a little bit more chaotic. Leave that lane open, and now you get chaos. Now you get chaos to ensue here. Complete lane to the basket opens up. And again, James Harden is not going to be able to stay in front of Jaylen Brown one-on-one. A lot of space to work with. Jaylen with a hard attack can probably. Rob has another opportunity now for an offensive rebound. Would have liked to see Derek here. I'm guessing, if I know Derek well enough, he's going to slide here, but maybe just a little later than I would have preferred. So it gives an open opportunity for him. Derek actually isn't even a slide. But Jalen's going to go right. He's going to test that knee from Joel. He's going to go right at him, and he's going to get an open layup. And we're going to have the drone right in the middle of the camera shot. There were some decent looks from the drone, so I'm not going to complain too much, but just pointing it out. And again, that's good process and getting the result. on that possession. Now let's take a look at some of these third quarter possessions, and then we'll call it a wraps. We'll call it a wraps here. Try to keep this relatively shorter. Jalen, 8 shots. I like that. He didn't take any in the second half. He took like 2 shots. Whoa. Okay. When did this run ensue? Was it right here? Whoa, no. Go back. This was Jalen on a little bit of a heater here. Jalen was on a little bit of heater, so he had to test himself on this possession. He's not the greatest, and Jason just going set up where the defense wasn't ready yet. And this little bit chaotic. I'll give Maxey credit here for good hands, but again, I'm never not gonna like how a possession starts. Joel, I'm not gonna say he's lazy, but yet again, late in transition. So Al, they're already gonna have a mismatch, and there's gonna be a coverage they don't like. They just don't work this possession. Not a ton of ball movement here or screen setting or screen setting. So it's going to force Jalen to go one-on-one and maybe just load up. Gets a little bit clogged. And Maxey's going to use his hands to make a good play on the ball here. But here is where the tides really start to turn. Listen, Jalen was key. He started off, made a couple of tough shots, and that was critical. That was critical to get that run started, and this blew the game wide open here. Jalen's going to take a heat check shot, which if your defense is going to play like they did, it's going to work out here. And it's a little late, a little later than I would like. Jason walks the ball up here, it looks like, just a little later than I would have liked. I want to see them try to get this at 17, not 15 at the shot clock. Jason's going to make a good pass to Al. And Al, listen, this is a shot he can make. Not my favorite shot in the world, but I'm never going to say that's a bad shot when Al takes that shot. It's an open three, especially because he knows Joel's not going to be, even though Joel's not necessarily having a bad contest, he knows he's not going to block this shot. And when you know a defender's not going to block your shot, anytime you know a defender's not going to block your shot, that's an open three. It's an in-rhythm three. And here, Al had a couple misses tonight. He had some bad ones, but he had a couple misses tonight that were really close. Listen, at the end of the day, really close doesn't matter if it doesn't go in. But when you win by 30, it matters a little bit less. And you just want to hope a guy is just barely missing. Here's another look for Al. Again, it's a shot where he knows Joel's not going to block it. And it's not necessarily a bad contest. And Al's going to get off. I like how early they're running. They get a good look. Boom, Al's going to square up, take it, and listen, just back rim here. And it's not like it's a brick back rim. Back rim with good backspin on the ball. Misses the shot. As a shooter, when you set up, if you're going to miss, back rim is a good spot to do it. Back rim is good. Back rim with that bounce. There's a difference. When you hit the rim and the ball flies away, there's a difference. The only time it isn't is top of the key, full on back rim, and it bounces out. But when you get backspin, or good backspin on the ball, and the shot's online and it bounces up instead of out, that's a good sign as a shooter. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a pretty good shooter, always have been. But as a shooter, you see that, okay, that wasn't, and he had that twice in a row, I think, in terms of the bounce off the rim. So online, good shots, not great shots. Al hopefully will be close to coming to life here. And again, not exactly a great three here, but notice the score is still the same because the Celtics were playing good defense here. And I guess I could have broke down some of those defensive possessions, but I'm trying to go through quick here. Can't go through every single possession. Here, again, not a bad look. Screen and roll, right? When I talk about this with Embiid, Embiid's always going to be conceding something when he's on the court. Um, Even though he's a great rim protector, he's 100% a great rim protector. You're just always going to be conceding something when he's on the court here. And that's what happens. Jason gets an open three, in rhythm three, and right, we talk about the misses. That one's more straight up. Oh, didn't want to do that. Oh, come on. Really? Hmm. Oh, no, I'm out of rhythm. I'm like Al Horford. I'm out of rhythm. Let me get back. Let me get back in my bag here. Here we go. No? Oh, okay. Yeah, we got to pull up. I guess just wasn't going to refresh. All right. We are out of rhythm, back in rhythm. Jason here, right? We talk about kinds of misses off the rim here. It's a little bit short, but it is online and I had good backspin. So it's going to bounce a little bit out because it was a little too short. But at the end of the day, in rhythm, good shot. I mean, it was from about 28, 29 feet, so it was a little deep, but it's definitely a shot he can make, and missed it on this one. Not the greatest shot in the world, but good process. Um, good process here on this position, and you'll take a good process any day in the week in playoff basketball. Here, I'm not sure how this possession started. I forget a little bit, but Tyrese Maxey 1-on-1 noticed clearly there was some movement from guys because guys they're loaded up. They're in a decent load up spot, um, but not great because James, you can notice, is trying to see what Derek is trying to do here. Tobias is just checking in on Grant for a second. Um, and so they're not completely loaded up. They are, but they aren't. Jason is going to do a good job. Tyrese Maxey is not going to be able to stay one-on-one on Jason Tatum with space. He's going to make a good pass here to Grant, who's going to be in a good job. Tobias is going to come up, and Jason's going to make a really good pass here to Grant in the dunker spot. Grant's going to take it, dribble in, accept the contact, and then once you suck in the defense at that point, right, James, not a good off-ball defender. James Harden gets caught a lot watching the ball. James gets sucked in here, doesn't realize, again, I would like for Derek to come up to the top of the key here. I'm surprised. A couple of these possessions, Derek White not moving off the ball. It's kind of a shocker, to be honest. But again, this is still, you know, this is still a wide open three, and it's a great shot. You'll take that shot any day of the week, especially with the shot clock running down. Really good shot. And Derek White is 40% 3-point shooter, so he can definitely make that. Here, I like how early in the shot clock they're working, right? Initiate the offensive possession with 18 seconds on the shot clock. Love that stuff. Plays around with the screen a little more than I would have liked here. And listen, at the end of the day, is always going to be conceding something. Kind of a miscommunication. The bias wants to keep tracking down. I guess there's some failure in communication here because Al is wide open for three here. But Jason sees an open lane here to the basket, and he just misses the layup. That's the end of the day. Embiid's force, Embiid's presence definitely affected the shot. But I think not to the point where you shouldn't expect Jason not to make that a shot. You should expect him every single time he takes that shot to make it. Missed it, but now when you create chaos, opens up opportunities for offensive rebounding. Grant does a great job cutting here. Maybe messes up the spacing a little bit, but actually just ends up sealing off PJ Smart. If you're gonna mess up spacing a little bit, Grant does a great job sealing off PJ here from preventing him to do that. Gets the offensive rebound. Going to throw it out to wide open Al Horford for three and misses. That one, not a good miss. I think Al was a little bit concerned of how cold maybe he was feeling. Maybe thought about the shot a little. He was a little deep, too, on this three. We'll see how deep he was in a second. 27 feet, it's a little deep for Al. Al typically lives in that 26 to 24 foot range. It is a little bit deep for Al. He's definitely capable of making this. We saw him make that 30-footer versus Milwaukee. He can definitely make, this is definitely a three he can make. It's not super, super deep. But it looks like he tries to put a little bit more on this because he felt just a little deep from behind the arc. And forces up, or not forces, gets a great look. Right? Great process, just didn't get the result. Good execution on offense. Continuously from the Celtics here in transition. Right away, they force a miss. Notice the scoreboard's been stuck at like 55 or 54 for like 3 minutes now. Really good defense here. I guess I should have broke down the third quarter as well defensively, which maybe I can do a separate video there. But Al is gonna get the rebound. Boom. Right away, Derek, quick decision. You're never not going to get a quick decision from Derek. Even when he's holding the ball, he's thinking about where he's going to go. He's always hyper aware. PJ, listen, he's got caught lacking a little bit. PJ's running up the court. They're trying to figure out who they're guarding. I don't know if he just got caught not because he didn't want to guard Derek. PJ's never going to do that. They're just trying to figure out who they're guarding. And that's the advantage of when you go in transition, in semi-transition, you're putting pressure. Now Joel Embiid, has to cut in, but then he cuts back because he realizes Jason Tatum is the guy he's guarding, and you never want to give that up. So Derek here kind of loses the ball a little bit, but he was going to beat him anyways, and this ends up working as a loose ball in his favor. I think he dribbled it like off his leg or something, and he gets the ball back, wide open layup. It's just the Sixers are not going to be able to stop the Celtics in transition like this. That's the end of the day. If the Celtics are going to get this many transition opportunities, it's going to work in their favor all day long. It's just that simple. Just that simple. Good look here by Jalen. Misses it. Jalen, those fadeaway shots are always good looks here. Derek, at this point now, Derek's made a three. He's made a now he's comfortable. Derek's comfortable. He's got the ball in his hands, room to work, right? Even when he's not making a play happen, he's thinking about what he wants to do. He sees how far he's dropping back here. Malcolm, they're going to run a little, Jalen and Malcolm, they're going to hold some gravity. Joel's like, what's going on here? He's going to hop back into the paint. Maybe he calls Maxey here for a switch. He's going to point for Maxey's switch. Maxey, no shot at stopping this possession. Again, we talk about this. It's different. Some shots can look like they're really contested, but when you know a guy is not going to be able to block your shot, it's a wide open feel. It's a wide open look. When you can get to your spot, shoot it, and the guy is not going to block it, it's not really a good contest, to be honest. Late contest, Derek knows he can make the shot. Pull up three, bang. Philly was trying to get back in the game. Clutch shot by Derek. Let's take a look at this. Looks like interesting here. 17 on the shot clock. They're going to initiate this possession. Love that. 17-16. They're going to 16 seconds. They're going to initiate on the possession. That's kind of my baseline. 16 or earlier. Take 8 seconds to get into your possession. It should take 8 or less seconds. No matter how it was rebound, make, miss, whatever, it should take 8 seconds or less. They give you 8 seconds to get up the floor. It shouldn't take that long. It should take 8 seconds to get into your initiation for the offense, not to get past half court. And simple as that. They get pick and roll. Joel's always going to be conceding something, right? We talk about this. He is not going to be able to guard Jaylen Brown one-on-one, especially full head of steam. Not going to be able to do that. So Jalen is going to be able to force Joel to really close in here, and Al's now beat him, right? Screen and roll. Tobias kind of lollygags, but Al's probably going to seal him off regardless. James gets sucked in. Malcolm probably should make himself more available in the corner here. Regardless, this is a shot Jalen can make. and probably should, to be honest, but he knows Joel's right on him. Joel, really good contest here. Maybe blocked it. I don't think he did. I think Jalen just forced us up quicker. Again, same with Jason. I think Jason a little bit easier of a look here than Jalen's, with because of the one hand here and just the way his angle was to the basket. Trying not to get blocked here from Joel. It's a really good contest from Joel. Still think it's a shot Jalen's capable of making, and should make. But the size advantage now you've created thanks to the sucking Joel all the way in. He's not even on the court. Al can get the offensive rebound. Simple as that. Simple as that. Creating advantages. And then it's the same possession. Look at one or two more offensive possessions. Yeah, we'll look at just one or two more, and this is basically when the game ended. Again, semi-transition, transition. PJ Tucker not even set up yet. They only have 4 guys back, and they've already set up their offense. Or when I say set up, they already initiated. Boom. Joel's always going to be conceding something. Wide open space for Jalen to work. He's going to attack Joel, bring him in. He's going to suck in and help defender here into the paint. No reason for Tobias Harris to be helping here when Joel is on Jalen in this position. No reason to. He is going to help, and Jalen's going to make the smart play, get out to Malcolm Brogdon, get an open 3. Maybe not the greatest shot in the world. He could have maybe worked. Malcolm could have worked this possession a little bit more because Jalen's going to do a good job of getting out of the way right away. But you know what? Creating an open 3, took it, make it. It's that simple. It's that simple. And here, I don't know what the heck happened on this possession. I don't know what happened on this here. Philly, dumb enough to turn it over. That's just Philly being bad, being horrible. It's not good here, and it gives up an open shot. Here on this possession, again, transition, semi-transition. Looks like they've been stuck on 60 now for a couple minutes. This is 5-on-4. Jalen's going to come up, make the pass to Malcolm. Malcolm is now comfortable at this point. Malcolm is comfortable. Malcolm is feeling good. He's in rhythm. So you're going to get something that's in rhythm, comfortable. Malcolm could have threw this right away to Derek. Would have got a wide open 3. Malcolm could have pump faked this, got into the lane, could have created an open shot. Jalen's got to make when he Jalen has. I don't know what Jalen is doing. Makes his pass. Actually, it's not his pass. I thought Malcolm had the ball for a second. Would like to see him Jalen cut out just a little bit sooner. As soon as you make this pass, get out of the way, even sooner. Make an effort to get out of the way even sooner, just so you can try to draw Melton and Malcolm if he wants to pump fake this, take this into the lane, lob threat, wide open 3. Either way, you're going to get a really good shot in this possession. Malcolm he creates such good backspin on his shot, and he gets so balanced on each shot he takes. He creates really every shot he gets reminds me of Donovan Mitchell, but in a different way. Donovan Mitchell's able to get really balanced on really tough looks. Just every single shot he takes, it's really impressive to watch. Whereas Malcolm Brogdon, not as athletic, he's not going to take as many moving threes as Donovan will. But he's always able to get into a shooting pocket, no matter where he catches it. He's able to get really balanced and get to the same exact shot, whether he's off the dribble or off the catch and shoot, or off the pull up. Take his pull up off the dribble, similar. No matter what, from the mid range, from 3, he's able to get off that same exact shot every single time, and rarely get blocked. And that's what I really love about his shot. And here he gets into it, right? That's the thing with Malcolm. He's a guy, it doesn't matter how good of a contest you have. If he knows you're not going to block his shot, it's basically a wide open 3, which this is. Hand down, man down. You're not blocking this. Boom. Game. That's when the game ended. 26-point lead, 14 minutes left to play. So a lot of good stuff here. I went longer than I wanted to. But I love breaking down basketball. I'm sorry, I just love breaking down each play so much. It's so enjoyable for me. It's so easy, especially when it's my Celtics. At the end of the day, the Celtics have control in this series, whether or not it feels like it 1-1. They have control every single game. It's up to them to be able to figure out how much of an edge do we want to play with, of an edge do we want to play with, and how engaged are we going to be, and how connected are we going to be defensively. And when we are, when you are that engaged and that focused defensively, we saw how many more semi-transition and transition looks they were able to get, and just good looks when they play with pace and get into their sets early, regardless of a make or miss, especially down the stretch of the game. Right, you don't have to take early shot clock threes, or you don't have to attack the basket. You don't have to shoot a shot around the basket right away, like in crunch time. But what you do need to do is initiate into your set early. You can't be waiting until 13, 12, 11, 10 seconds, or even later on the shot clock to initiate your offense. And in crunch time, I say in general, 16 or earlier, you should be initiating your shot. But in crunch time, I'll give another second, 14, 15, or earlier on the shot clock. I want it to at least 15 most of the time. I want to see them. That's when I want to see them initiate their offense. Um, that is when I want to see that. And so when they do that and they execute, they're the best team in the NBA. It's clear they have the best roster. They have the best, and not just like talent roster. They have the best in terms of fit on a roster. It's one of the best in a while I've seen in terms of roster makeup. Um, it's just really, really good. The depth, the quality of the depth, and the way they fit, the style of play, it's all really good. It's just all going to rely on how much in these early rounds they can win. They can coast it and still win this in 7. They can. But that's not what you want to do. That's not a recipe, because when you get to the finals and now you're dead tired because you not necessarily coasted, just they did coast the game 1. But we saw last year with games they just gave up. Like, they gave up games they shouldn't have. Waited too long, and they effed around and they found out on a lot of games last year, and they found out this year as well. And that's why they lost home court advantage to the Bucks this year, and they got lucky enough to gain it back because the Bucks did what the Celtics did. So, but here's this was my game 2, I guess, film breakdown here of the Celtics Sixers Eastern Conference semifinals. Really fun games. Now, if you're a Celtics fan, if you're a Sixers fan, don't worry. It's only one game. It's not the end of the world, but I do still think this series favors the Celtics. And I in my opinion, I think the series is where the Celtics are going to take the next game in Philly, maybe the next one after that. We'll see how engaged enough. I think they'll coast a little bit more, especially if they win game Philly. I think they'll coast. And I think they might blow that game 5 in Boston, and then, or if they lose that game 4, I think they'll win the game 5 in Boston, and then I think they'll put their foot to the metal and try to close this out in 6. And we'll see. Maybe Philly can fight enough. Maybe Joel's healthier enough to make a bigger impact. But conditioning-wise, Joel is going to be effective for the next couple of games at least. So we'll see how well he's able to perform, and how tired or untired he's going to get, especially when it comes to fourth quarter crunch time of some of these games. That is all I got. I appreciate for anyone that's going to watch this. Again, I plan on doing these more in the future, these live breakdowns. Hopefully we can get more people in to ask questions and stuff. Eventually in the future, we can try to grow this channel on YouTube and on Twitter, and we'll see where it goes, right? I really love breaking down basketball, played basketball, just enjoy enjoy watching the game, in particular the Celtics. So I try to do breakdowns after every single game. Try and shorten these up. I gotta start watching film beforehand so I can do it easier. But I only have so much time in a day. But yeah. All right. I'll see everyone after Game 3 of Celtics Philly on maybe either Friday night or Saturday. All right. Peace, everyone.